So it pays to get rid of your non-deductible debt if you want to use your money to the best possible way that you can, because at the end of the day, when you're buying a house is not considered as an asset. People like Robert Kiyosaki suggest that a house is not an asset. We see it in Australia as an asset, that you're buying something for yourself, etc. But if you look at the numbers, it's really not, and the main reason for that is because it's not paying you an income. And in fact, it's doing the complete opposite. It's sucking you pretty much dry over a 25 or 30 year period. So it doesn't mean that you shouldn't necessarily own your own home, but we have to think more about how we're going to get rid of the mortgage, what might make a little bit more sense, rather than just following like sheep what other people have done, what we've been told to do, and just following blindly, because it's not necessarily the best way to go. And I've just got a little scenario on the board here, which I'll just kind of highlight that as to why the house isn't really an asset. And of course, it also brings up the point, people talk about investing as risky, but what I would suggest is what is risky is actually buying your own home. And the reason is when you buy your own home is because you are responsible for every single payment that comes out of that place. No one else. You're not helped by anyone else. You're not helped by the government with your taxes. You're not helped by a tenant or anyone else. It's all up to you. You have to have a job to pay for all of these outgoings. So if we look at here, and you've got your own home. It's $450,000 of an interest rate of about 3.45% at the moment. They're quite low interest rates, as we are well aware. And this represents your bank account. So in the house scenario here, you can see that it's everything that is going out of your account, and there's nothing coming into your account. So on a $450,000 mortgage at 3.45, you'd be paying around about a couple of grand a month to satisfy that mortgage over over 30 years. Normally 25 or 30 years would be a mortgage. So this is worked out over 30 years. So it's, I got it on the NAB calculator online. And it worked it out as $2,008 a month. So on top of that $2,008 a month to try and pay this mortgage down over 30 years, you've also got to pay your rates, your taxes, your insurances, and your utilities, which are obviously your water, your gas, your electricity, that type of thing. So all of these things are going to go out of your account. Not only that, over the course of the 30-year period, it worked out on the online calculator for me that the interest repayment, assuming this interest rate stays the same, of course, over that 30-year period, the interest chargeable to that loan would be $272,000. So over $250,000 there you're paying just in interest. And bear in mind, like I said, these are historically low interest rates. So any normal kind of period where interest rates might be a little bit higher, you'd be certainly paying a lot more than that. And that's a lot to swallow as it is, of course. Now, I'm not saying that this interest rate will stay the same. It could even go down a little bit further. But over a 25 or 30 year loan, you would expect at some point, maybe in the back half of the loan, for that interest rate to be somewhere higher, because as the economy improves, as things get better over time, interest rates would slowly creep up. You'd expect that to happen over a period of some years. So it just makes those repayments higher, and the amount of interest that you pay over a period of time higher as well. So that's the primary difference between this is and an investment property down here is nothing here is coming back into this account. Okay, it's all going out, and you're responsible for all of those repayments. Down here, same value property, $450,000. Assuming we had an interest only rate for this one, not principal and interest only at 4%. Now I say interest only because unless you're aware of this, it's the interest component that's tax deductible. So probably 95% or so of investors have interest only loans against an investment property. And the main reason for that is because it's, like I said, the interest is the part that's tax deductible against your income. It brings your gross income down. So what we'd be getting, as opposed to this property, your own principal place of residence here, what we'd be getting here is we've got money coming back in. So we've got the rent, which in this case worked it out at about $420 a week. You'd be getting around about $22,500 coming into your account per year from the tenant. You'd also be getting a tax refund if you're on, and I've worked this out, on about somebody that's on about $80,000. You'd be getting a tax refund for this particular investment property of around about, and assuming that it's a kind of newish property where you get all the depreciation and everything that you're entitled to, you'd be getting about $5,000, a bit over $5,000 back in tax. So you're getting tax back, you're getting rent coming into your account, but you also got some payments going out as well, which would be your loan, $18,700 odd, 4% on your $450,000 debt, and you've got some expenses here as well, which are basically your rates, taxes, insurances and things like that, plus property management fees that would be going out. So important to remember that the difference between here is, even though you've got costs going out, they're covered by the money that's coming into the account. So you got your rent coming in, you got your tax back coming into your account, and these expenses going out. And if you work all that out, that would leave about $2,230 odd back into your account at the end of the financial year, rather than this just bleeding money over a period of time. So what we're left with here is my whole point, that we need to get rid of the outgoing that you're paying here as quickly as possible to reduce this as much as possible, because the sooner we pay this out, the quicker this goes, the less interest you pay. And the sooner we've got a place that we're not paying this repayment out every single month, of course it sets us up to have something else that we're investing in that's actually paying us to have it. So what we want to be doing is, once we've got that paid out, it means that the debt that we've got over this property is no longer hanging over us, because it's not deductible. We can't get anything back from it. Here we get our tax back from this one because it is deductible. Not only the debt is deductible, these expenses are deductible, and depreciation on the property is deductible as well. So by using all those deductions, we can get tax back, and it can support us to actually pay us, put money into our account while we're holding onto the property, and it goes up over a period of time. So if you imagine that you've got this property now paid out, we've got rid of it, and instead of just bleeding money out, we're getting maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, however many investment properties are actually paying us, rather than this scenario here. It makes a huge difference. Of course, the question is, how do we get rid of this mortgage more quickly and get a scenario where we can have more of these? And I'll suggest to you that maybe something like what I did is, before, not long after I actually started bought my first home and started paying a mortgage, I actually bought a second property, probably about, I think my first investment property was about 3 years after I bought my first home. And about 7 years after that, I could have sold, because I'd been quite lucky, the market had been quite strong. This property had gone up to such an extent that I probably could have sold it at that point, and paid off most of my mortgage with this property here. Now, yes, you will pay a little bit of capital gains tax on that. I won't explain that in this video. But even given that, once you've got the money out of the property and you've sold it, you can pay down your mortgage far more quickly than just trying to do it with after-tax money that you're earning from your employer or through your business, and then trying to pay down something like that is very, very difficult, and it puts a huge onus on you to keep coming up with those repayments. And of course, like I said, it's a massive cost to you over time. So what we really want to do, my suggestion is using another property to pay off the property that is not deductible, the property that you're living in. So you could buy an investment property, and as that goes up over a period of time, at some point you can actually sell out. This is really the only time I would suggest selling an investment property. Sell out an investment property to get rid of the non-deductible debt on your mortgage, which you should be able to do way beyond what you would do trying to pay it out yourself over 25 or 30 years. And that can clear this, so that then you can pluck some equity out of this property and go again, and then buy multiple investment properties that can keep you going. So not only do you have your house and your mortgage paid down, but you can start building up your portfolio as well. And all the debt that you'll have will be deductible debt, or will be good debt, what they call good debt, because you're investing in real estate and you're getting the deductions for it. So I know that was a lot slow. I hope that makes sense. It's something that I think a lot more people should do. It's definitely something you should think about. And if this makes sense to you, then take a look below the video. You can click on the link there and get a free phone consult with me just to see how this might be able to work for you. And hopefully, if that interests you, we can have a chat and I can see where you're at. And we might be able to set up a situation where we can get you on the path, getting rid of your non-deductible debt a hell of a lot quicker than it would if you were just paying it out yourself. Okay, that's it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon.